Tonight on First at 9 this Monday the 6th of May 2024. Handed back. Cabinet hands over visa issuance process back to Department of Immigration and Immigration. Public Security Minister highlights inclusion of 30-day visa on the e-visa platform from tomorrow. The path ahead. Successful completion of external debt restructuring imperative for external sector growth, highlights the central bank. The express repayment. New SOE to help repay expressway debt, says the Transport Minister. Denied again. Former Health Minister Kelia Ramukwala and 7 others further remanded until the 20th of May. One suspect released on bail.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දෙනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක.
From Derana, this is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to Derana First at 9. I'm Aditya Singha joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world. Now taking you straight to your top story this evening, Minister of Public Security Derana claims that the decision to hand over the on-arrival visa issuance process to VFS Global was unanimously approved by Parliament, and therefore any criticism in this regard from members of the opposition is hypocritical. Meanwhile, VFS Global issued a statement clarifying that its involvement in the visa issuance process is restricted to administrative tasks and that the power of granting or rejecting a visa remains with the Department of Immigration and Immigration. However, the Cabinet of Ministers have decided to hand over the visa issuance process back to the Department of Immigration and Immigration for the time being and to continue to offer the free visa service to citizens of 7 countries, namely India, Russia, China, Japan, Malaysia, Thailand and Indonesia.
Starting from the 17th of April, the on-arrival visa issuance, which was previously conducted by the Department of Immigration and Immigration, was taken over by the international firm VFS Global. On the 1st of May, a malfunction of the Bandaranaike International Airport's on-arrival visa issuance system resulted in a prolonged delay in visa issuance, causing arriving tourists to wait for extended periods of time. A frustrated passenger was seen getting into an altercation with visa officers.
Indians know nothing, do nothing.
In the meantime, the government's move to hand over the on-arrival visa issuance process to a third party received widespread criticism. In response, Minister of Public Security Derana convened a media briefing today to address the controversy.
Previously, only the 30-day visa was available through online application. In view of the requests we received, 6-month, 1-year, 5-year and 10-year visas were also made available via online application. The relevant proposal was submitted to the Cabinet, and once Cabinet approval was granted, the draft bill was tabled in Parliament. On the 23rd of November last year, Parliament passed the bill unanimously and it was subsequently published in the Government Gazette. However, the only issue was that these facilities could not be provided on the existing e-visa platform. Therefore, we had to acquire a new e-visa platform from VFS Global. The $75 visa in question is a 6-month double-entry visa. Here, I must admit that there was a mistake on our part. The $50 30-day visa was not included in the bill that was passed, and because of that, it was not included in the visa issuance system. However, that visa too will be added to the system from tomorrow. Accordingly, the 30-day single-entry visa will be available at $50 and the 6-month double-entry visa will be available at $75. Accusations were levelled claiming that the visa issuance process had been handed over to an Indian company. To my knowledge, VFS Global is not an Indian company, and the personnel at the visa counters were Sri Lankans, not Indians. At the end of the day, the power of either granting or rejecting a visa still lies with the Department of Immigration and Immigration.
Immigration එකෙන් තමයි එක්කෝ approve කරන්නේ එක්කෝ reject කරන්නේ.
The minister also stated that action will be taken against the Sri Lankan air passenger who caused the disturbance at the Bandaranaike International Airport on the 1st of March, as well as the officers who recorded the incident. Accordingly, the person in question was summoned to the airport police at the Bandaranaike International Airport, where he provided a nearly 2-hour-long statement.
I was questioned on the statements I made at the airport and I answered to the best of my ability. I have fulfilled my responsibility as a citizen. So I hope the parties responsible for the situation will do the same and disclose the truth to the public.
Meanwhile, VFS Global also issued a statement to the effect that its involvement on the on-arrival visa issuance process is limited to non-judgmental and administrative tasks related to the application process, and that the decision to grant or reject the visa is at the sole discretion of the Department of Immigration and Immigration.
ජීවිතේ හැම තැනකදීම ස්මාර්ට් වෙන්න පොලිය විතරක් ගෙවාගෙන යන්න CDB Smart Draft.
Central Bank claims that the country's external sector growth lies in the successful completion of the external debt restructuring and the perseverance along the path of reforms set out in the IMF EFF supported program. The CBSL said the reforms will be crucial to eliminate the prevailing uncertainties and to sustainably improve investor confidence in the country. In the Outlook report, the regulator further says that the merchandise trade deficit is expected to widen in 2024 and that the foreign financing assistance from multilateral agencies is expected to enhance inflows to the financial account, strengthening gross official reserves in 2024 and beyond.
According to the central bank's economic outlook, the merchandise trade deficit is expected to widen in 2024 due to the possible increase in import demand, reflecting the relaxation of import restrictions and improved economic activity. The increased spending capacity of the public and businesses due to easing monetary conditions, despite the expected moderate growth in export earnings in 2024, is also expected to support the widening of the merchandise trade deficit. The CBSL claims that even with the continued growth in import expenditure, the trade deficit is expected to reach the manageable levels in the medium term, supported by the expected revival and expansion of earnings from exports. The services account surplus is likely to increase in 2024 onwards, with the projected upswing in earnings from tourism as well as the envisaged improvement in the competitiveness in other services exports. Even though Sri Lanka is likely to benefit from the booming tourism industry in the medium term, the expected surge in tourism should also align with the international standards and sustainable tourism measures while ensuring that the estimated revenue is fully realized for the country to reap benefits. The services account surplus is also expected to strengthen over the medium term with the expected rebound in activities in transport services and high growth in the ICT and BPO related services subsectors. The deficit in the primary income account is expected to narrow in 2024 after the completion of the external debt restructuring process and the subsequent scale down of interest payments. Workers' remittances are expected to remain at elevated levels in 2024 and beyond. The CBSS said it expects the current account to record a surplus in 2024 as well, but at a lower level. Also, foreign financing assistance from multilateral agencies such as the IMF, Asian Development Bank and World Bank, along with the envisaged resumption of bilateral funding projects, is expected to enhance inflows to the financial account while also strengthening gross official reserves in 2024 and beyond. Proposed improvements to the institutional arrangement for investment promotion and efforts to address long-standing issues with doing business conditions are expected to alleviate any negative perceptions of Sri Lanka among investors. Foreign investments in the government securities market and in the Colombo Stock Exchange are also expected to strengthen over the medium term.
Now, tensions ran high outside the North Central Provincial Council building in Anuradhapura today due to a protest launched by a group of unemployed university graduates. The demonstrators continued their protest action in violation of a court order issued against such a protest. As tensions escalated earlier during the day, 22 protesters were arrested by the police for violent and unruly behavior. The arrestees were later released on bail after being produced before court.
Unemployed university graduates of the North Central Province extended their recent spate of protests by organising yet another protest in Anuradhapura today. As tensions ran high, the animated protesters stormed the North Central Provincial Council building. Today's protest was held in violation of a court order obtained by the police to prevent such demonstrations. The already agitated crowd of protesters were further enraged as the police intervened to disperse the crowd gathered in front of the North Central Provincial Council building. 22 protesters were taken into police custody on account of their violent behavior. The arrestees were produced before court and subsequently released on bail. Similarly, unemployed university graduates of the Western Province also launched a protest in front of the Western Provincial Council this morning. As the demonstrations progressed, a group of protesters were given the opportunity to hold discussions with the Western Province Governor Marshal of the Air Force Roshan Gunatilaka.
These discussions are not enough to stop our protests. We will definitely have to continue our protests into the future.
Meanwhile, Grama Niladhari officers also launched a trade union action today by closing all Grama Niladhari offices across the island. The trade union action was taken in a bid to express displeasure over several matters, including the failure of the government to provide a service code for Grama Niladhari officers for over 60 years. As a result of the island-wide strike, many members of the public were inconvenienced today.
Provide solutions to the issues faced by Grama Niladhari officers during the cabinet meeting scheduled to be held on the 8th of May. There will be a severe impact on the elections planned to be held in the next couple of months if these issues are not sorted.
The University Executive Officers Association too said they will continue the strike action which was launched on the 3rd of May. Minister of Education Dr. Susil Premajayantha shared his thoughts on the matter.
I am aware of the situation. I had a discussion with them about a week ago. The relevant cabinet papers to address their issues will be presented to the cabinet subcommittee on the 8th.
We will have to resort to severe trade union actions if reasonable solutions are not provided to our issues during the upcoming cabinet meeting on the 8th.
In line with the strike of the University Executive Officers Association, the non-academic staffers of all state universities also decided to continue their strike.
The GCE Ordinary Level Examination for the academic year 2023 commenced this morning at 3,527 examination centres across the island, with 452,979 candidates facing the key exam. Meanwhile, Commissioner General of Examinations Amit Jayasundar said that the results of the 2023 Ordinary Level Examination is expected to be released before the end of September.
After a 5-month delay, the 2023 GCE Ordinary Level Examination commenced today at 8:30 a.m. in 3,527 examination centres island-wide. A total of 452,979 candidates have qualified to sit for this year's examination. Candidates were seen arriving at their respective examination centres this morning. This year, 4 additional examination centres were put in place for children with special needs. 2023 Ordinary Level Examination, which commenced today, is scheduled to conclude on the 15th of May.
No issues were reported from any examination centre. We expect to release the results of this exam by September.
By the first week of June, we intend to start the advanced level curriculum for students who are currently facing the GCE Ordinary Level Examination. We will transfer all students in schools without advanced level courses to schools which offer the advanced level curriculum. So these students can sit for their advanced level examination by 2026.
In the meantime, police spokesman DIG Nihal Talduwa highlighted that security protocols are currently in place to ensure the safety and security of students during the GCE Ordinary Level Examination.
Various disruptions can occur near examination centres while exams are in progress. Therefore, we have deployed police patrols near examination centres to prevent such disruptions from taking place.
Legal matter pertaining to the procurement of substandard vaccines was once again taken up for consideration today before the Maligakanda Magistrates Court. The Maligakanda Magistrate Lochini Abe Vikrama ordered that the Chairman of the National Medicines Regulatory Authority and the Director General of the Health Services to conduct a World Health Organization accredited test on samples of the vaccines in question in order to ascertain their quality. The court also ordered of the 9 suspects, including former Health Minister Keheliya Ramukwele, to be placed in remand custody until the 20th of May. However, one suspect, former Deputy Director of Medical Supplies Division of the Health Ministry, Dr. Tusita Sudarshana, was released on bail on medical grounds. Welcome back. Now, here's a look at some views expressed in the political arena today.
කතා කරන විවාදවලටත් මම සූදානම් වුණ වෙලා ක්‍රියාවෙන් කරන විවාදයකට සූදානම් වෙන්න. වැඩ විසඳුම් වැඩපිළිවෙල රටේ ජනතාව බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ ඒක. ඒ නිසා මම පුනපුනාම කියනවා. අපි සූදානම් අපේ ආර්ථික කමිටුව වෙනමම නායකයෝ වෙනමම විවාද දෙකකට සූදානම්. ඒකට ඕනනම් තුන්වෙනි විවාදයකට එකතු කරමු. වැඩවලින් කරන විවාදයකට සූදානම්. මොකද ජනතාව බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ මහ පොළොවේ සත්‍ය සහ යථාර්ථය.
දැන් අපිට පේනවා සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහත්මයා ලක්ෂ 55 ඉඳන් ලක්ෂ 70ට යන්න තියෙනවා. ලක්ෂ 15ක් එකතු කරගන්නයි තියෙන්නේ. අනුකූල සානායක පාට ලක්ෂ 5 කියලා කියමු. ලක්ෂ 70ට යන චාව 65 ලක්ෂයක් එකතු කරගන්න ඕනේ. වැඩි වාසිය තියෙන්නේ මම විශ්වාස කරනවා සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහත්මයාට.
සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාසලා කණ්ඩායමත් තාමත් හරියට අපේක්ෂක කවුද කියලා කියන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද සජිත්ගේ ලන්ද පොළඳකම් සජිත්ගේ බාල වැඩ හැටියට තමන්ගේ පක්ෂේ ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයා සජිත් කියලා කියන්නේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ දිව නැමෙන්නේ නැහැ.
නිදාස් පක්ෂේ ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයා ජයදාස රාජපක්ෂ මහත්මයාට ප්‍රකාශ කරලා තියෙන ඔබතුමා
කවුද කිව්වේ?
ඔව් ජනාධිපති ඔබතුමාලාගේ.
එතුමා දැන් පක්ෂේ නිකන් කෙනෙක් විතරයි. එතුමා ওই රැයට හීනයක් දැක්කම උදේට ඇවිල්ලා කියන එකනේ. එතුමා කියපු තරමක් ඉතින් කියලා තියෙන්නේ බොරුනේ වැඩිපුරම. ඒ නිසා ඒක ගණන් ගන්න දෙයක් නැහැ.
ජනාධිපතිවරණේ තියලා ඒකෙන් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ආණ්ඩුව බරපතල පරාජයක් ලබනවා. ඊට පස්සේ පවත්වන පාර්ලිමේන්තු මැතිවරණයේදී ඔය පොහොට්ටුවේ ඉන්න මන්ත්‍රීවරු ඔක්කොම හේදිලා ගෙදර යනවා. ඒ නිසා ඒ අයට උවමනා වෙලා තියෙනවා ජනාධිපතිවරණයට කලින් පාර්ලිමේන්තු මැතිවරණයක් පවත්ව ගන්න.
Now in your business news, the Sri Lanka Banks Association, Lanka Pay and FincCert issued a joint statement yesterday warning the general public over a rise in online scams. The statement highlights various indications of financial fraud both in Sri Lanka and abroad, disguised as attractive online offers to mobile devices. The inadvertent clicking on unknown links by users could lead to download of malicious apps and files which grant scammers complete access to mobile devices, enabling remote access. The Banks Association, along with Lanka Pay and FincCert, noted that the reported cases of online fraud were due to scammers gaining control of mobile devices and not due to any particular security vulnerabilities of banking apps. To mitigate the harm caused by such frauds, several guidelines were issued to the public. Some of the key guidelines issued included the avoiding of clicking on links shared via social media groups, refraining from saving passwords on devices, and avoiding clicking on links and downloading apps or files from unknown sources. Senior analyst of Capital Alliance Limited, Dilushka De Mel, joins us now with a few thoughts to round off our Markets in View segment for the week.
The upward trajectory in the ASPI continued during the past week, with the index continuing in its momentum above 12,000. The ASPI closed at 12,404, an increase of 203 basis points, and the S&P 20 also followed this trend, marginally increasing by 37 points to settle at 3,672 points. Total market turnover increased by 25% to 13.5 billion, with both the domestic and foreign contribution improving. Moving on to last week's Treasury bill auctions, yields declined significantly, with the 3-month, 6-month and 12-month instruments declining 29, 18 and 20 basis points. In the Treasury bond auction, the 2028 Treasury bond rate decreased by 249 basis points, while the 2030 bond yields declined 184 basis points, along with the 2032 bond reducing by 4 basis points. And on the international front, all three US market indices improved during the week, with the Nasdaq increasing 1.4%. Apple's mammoth share buyback of $110 billion caused the Apple share to surge nearly 7%. In commodities, oil prices declined by 7.4% to close at $82, and gold prices increased by 1.7%, closing at $2,310.
In other business news, the Colombo Stock Exchange closed down today with a turnover lower than the preceding week at 2.1 billion rupees. High net worth and institutional investor participation was noted in John Keel's Holdings, Diesel and Motor Engineering and Sierra Cables. Mixed interest was observed in National Development Bank, Sunshine Holdings and Royal Ceramics, whilst retail interest was noted in SMB Leasing Non-Voting, LLC Finance and Brown's Investments. Foreign participation in market activity remained at subdued levels, with foreigners closing as net buyers. Capital goods sector was the top contributor to the market turnover as the sector index lost 0.65%. Food, beverage and tobacco sector was the second highest contributor to the market turnover, with the sector index increasing 0.4%. Now let's take a look at the rupee exchange rates during the day. And now let's move on to some corporate news in brief.
WSO2, an open source technology provider, announced that it has signed a definitive agreement to be acquired by EQT, a private equity company founded in Sweden. With EQT as its new partner, WSO2 reaffirms its commitment to delivering innovative solutions which address the evolving needs of modern business. Speaking at an event, the CEO and founder of WSO2, Dr. Sanjeeva Veeravarna, said that the company remains focused on driving customer success, fostering community collaboration, and delivering innovative software that unlocks the new value creation opportunities for organizations worldwide. In the meantime, in its annual report for 2023, the General Manager and the Chief Executive Officer of the Bank of Ceylon, W.P. Russell Fonseca, revealed plans to revamp its business model with a greater focus on private sector lending. The CEO of the Bank of Ceylon highlighted the pivotal role of the company in providing support and lending to SMEs, funding key infrastructure development projects and industrial ventures, and driving economic progress across all sectors of the nation. In addition, the CEO Fonseca extended their expectations to expand their overseas presence and introduce new green or blue lending products across these regions. In other corporate news, Colombo Fort Land and Building PLC announced dealings made by a director of the company. Accordingly, Anushman Rajaratnam, who serves as an executive director of the company, purchased a total of 10,000 shares from Slash Account Hatton National Bank PLC at 31 rupees per share. The relevant transaction took place on the 2nd of May and was notified to the board of directors today.
The Minister of Transport and Highways, Dr. Bandulu Gunawardena, says that the new state-owned Sahasya investment established to manage the expressways in the country will support the repayment of the 860 billion rupee debt linked to the expressways construction. According to a statement issued by the Minister of Transport and Highways, Dr. Bandulu Gunawardena, the newly formed SOE will maintain the existing expressway system, determine strategic methods for further development, use modern technical methods to reduce costs, and enforce an efficient and effective expressway system.
The head office of Sahasya Investments, a new state-owned entity to manage expressways, was declared open in Battaramulla under the patronage of Minister of Transport and Highways, Dr. Bandulu Gunawardena. Sahasya Investments is set to function as a fully state-owned enterprise. According to a cabinet decision taken, the daily operations and management of expressways were planned to be shifted to Sahasya Investment Limited from the 1st of April onwards in accordance with a formal management agreement. Also, all the relevant assets will be transferred to Sahasya Investments Limited within 6 months, pursuant to a legal and financial feasibility study jointly conducted by the Road Development Authority and Sahasya Investments Limited. During the opening ceremony of the head office of Sahasya Investments today, Minister Bandulu Gunawardena said that there is a dire need for more optimal management of commercially productive assets in order to pay off the outstanding debt of over 860 billion rupees. However, he further said that the said requirement is difficult to fulfill in the traditional government organizational structure and hence is expected to be done through the new government entity by making decisions more effectively. Sahasya Investment is chaired by Secretary of the Ministry of Transport and Highways Ranjit Ganganath Rubasinghe, and its COO is Senior Engineer of the Road Development Authority, KW Kandambi. A board of directors representing the Ministry of Finance and other government agencies also have been appointed.
That's all the news we have for you tonight. Thank you. Have a great night.